This is the third part of our Snug-a-Bear teddy bear tutorial. We're going to make the ears, arms, and tails. So for the ears, you're going to yarn on your 22 knitting needle machine, and then we're going to do 10 rows and then cast off. So the 10 rows does not include the cast on or the cast off. And you're going to do this twice to make 2 ears. And so once you remove it from your machine, these are the same steps like making a beanie hat or making the body or the snout of the bear. For this bear, we want to use the wrong side of our yarn so it's fuzzy. And then we're going to pull the end yarns tight. So we cinch the tube together. And so first it kind of makes a ball, and then you push the 2 ends together and you flatten it, and it makes a disc. And then we're going to fold that disc in half to make our ear. So we want to do this twice to make 2 ears. And don't forget your 2 end yarns. Once you fold it in half, we want to tie a few knots to secure the ends. Once you have 2 ears done, you're going to take your yarn on the needle and pull it through to one of the sides of the ears, and then you're going to whip stitch up and around the circular part of that folded ear so the 2 ends can stay together. And this yarn, since it is fluffy, and then don't forget to knot it at the end. And since this yarn has that fluffy look to it, it does hide your stitches very nicely. So it's one of those, if it's the first time making one, you don't have to be super accurate with your stitches because the stitches kind of hide and blend together. But if you're using a yarn that you can really see your stitches, you want to take your time to try to make them look as even and neat as possible. So once you have the ears whip stitched together, then we're going to take that yarn and pull it through to one of the sides to kind of close up the bottom of the ear. And I kind of just go back and forth a little bit at the bottom and then kind of just close up. Like that. And I do that to both sides. And now we're going to take our ears, and I kind of form them the way I like them, and we're going to pull one end through the head on both sides, and this is just to kind of help stabilize them. I do a little knot at the bottom, a loose one, and this is just to keep them in place. And then we're going to whip stitch with the other end of the working yarn that's attached to the ear all the way around. And so now I just make sure it's where I like the ear. And then I do it the same to the other side. Take the other end of the working yarn and whip stitch it all the way around. And then I take those ends that were kind of the stabilizing ones, and for now I just kind of leave them out. So next we're going to make the arms of our bear. You want to take a long piece of yarn and double it, and you want to pull it through to one side and then out the back, so it kind of is held into place through the back. And then you take both ends together on your needle and pull them down back and forth through the body, just like you did the legs. You don't need to go down as long, the arms are a little bit shorter. And work it back and forth down, and then once you get as long as you'd like, go back up, and then you're going to knot the ends together to secure them. And now we're going to do our other arm. So again, you take a long piece of yarn, pull it through, take the other end of the working yarn, pull it through again so it's held on, and the 2 ends are now on the other side. And then you're going to stitch back and forth. And you want to kind of start on the same height and go down and stop around the same to make the arms look even. And then once you go all the way down as far as you want, you're going to work your way back up and then knot the yarn to secure it. And there's his little arms. Next, we're going to sew down again the snout of the bear. And so you start up a little bit higher on the nose part and whip stitch them down to the face. And this is to get it a little bit flatter so it's not extending out so pronouncedly. And you're going to do this one or so times around, just depending on how flat you want to make the nose. And you're going to go all the way around again. And it's really easy to do at this point because we've already whip stitched it around once. And extra security for the nose, because that probably will be something that kind of gets pulled on. And then we just pull the end yarns through and we're going to tie them in a knot. Now the tail. We're going to do a magic circle and crochet the tail, doing single crochets around the magic circle. And I do 8 single crochets around, and then I do a slip stitch to secure it and then pull the magic circle tight. I'm going to do another quick little tutorial on how to do this with a yarn that's not fuzzy so you can see the stitches. I will post that next and it'll just be a little quick video to show this. But once you get it slip stitch through, pull it through. And then you're gonna pull tightly to cinch up the single crochet to make it around, and that just makes his little tail. So I still have the ends of his legs poking out, so we're just gonna feed that through the body and then cut them off because they were already knotted and secured. And then we're gonna put his little tail on using the 2 ends of the working yarn that are still attached, and we're just gonna pull it through. And I just did it right at the top of his legs, and it kind of holds it in place, and then I go back and forth a few times and then whip stitch it onto the back of his body for his little tail. And I just think it's a cute little detail to have on there. And then I pull it through to the front of the body. And I gave him a little knot. And then I pulled it down through again and then cut off the excess. So he is now, his tail is nice and secure and shouldn't fall off. So now I'm just going to go through and tidy up the bear with the little end yarns that are still left throughout. I'm going to make sure they're knotted and secured, and then I'm going to pull them through the body to hide them. And then any excess, once I pull it through, I'm going to cut that off. And so those were the ear stabilizer working yarns that I had. I pull it through the head a couple times. If you pull too tightly, it will make a divot, so you just want to kind of pick out that with the end of my needle there. So that's what I'm going to do through the rest of this, is just kind of tidy up those end yarns, and I'll meet you back for part 4, which I'll show how to make the tail with a yarn that isn't funny so you can see the detail and the stitches better. And then we'll start with the detail of making the nose and the eyes as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and for the next parts. Happy crafting!